Let's shift the paradigm to prioritize our peace and focus on the positive while creating balance to make living our best life the ultimate goal. We'll talk boundaries, self-care, mental health, and overcoming obstacles. You'll hear interviews and fresh perspectives to support you along the way. Let's elevate the conversation and level up our self-growth game. This is the Piece of Me podcast. You would think that a short episode would be really easy to record, but I think I've tried to record this episode maybe 7 or 8 times now. Like, it's definitely taking longer than it should. And I don't really know why. Maybe because I haven't been back with you guys for a while and this is the first one back. I've listened to the other episodes and I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't have like the message in there that I want you guys to pick up on. So decided to just jump on the mic one more time. And hopefully this is the final take for the episode that comes out next week. And I'm so excited just to be back on the air with you guys, be back in your speakers, back on the podcast, all the good stuff. And some of you already know I've been pretty interactive on the Piece of Me podcast Instagram page. So I've been updating you guys on life and what's been happening over there. But the podcast was on a pause. And I'm going to talk about that in today's episode. And I'm also going to talk about kind of this podcast project announcement, because this is really what I've been spending my time on since I took the pause. Hi, friends. I'm Lexy Lee. I am the host and creator of the Piece of Me podcast. So if you are new here, welcome. And if you are not new, then welcome back. I so appreciate that you are here and joining me for this episode. And I really just want to take a minute to kind of talk about, I guess burnout and feeling like you need to take a break. And one of the things that I do appreciate about the Piece of Me community and what we've built here is just, we talk a lot about self-care and just kind of like prioritizing our own needs, mental health, focusing on what we need. Because again, a lot of times in life, we're so focused on our output. So this was a time where I said, I need to kind of focus on recharging and rest and all the good stuff. So I appreciate that you guys are coming back to listen. I appreciate your support for your DMs, your messages, for the Piece of Me journals that some of you have bought over this break. I think the break was a little bit over a month. So you guys show your support in so many different ways. So I appreciate that. And if you are looking to support the show further, just hit the follow button on whichever podcast platform you are listening to right now. And if you happen to be listening to the Piece of Me podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, that some people still refer to it as, then do me a favor and just give me a quick 5-star rating and review. And you can say things like, I like the show, or it's in my podcast rotation, or you like the guests that come on my show. Any bit you can to support the show just really helps me to know that you guys like what you're listening to. And it also helps other people like yourself find this podcast. So let's take a minute and talk about why I had to pause the podcast. And then I'm going to share with you what this project has been all about that I've been a little bit secretive and I haven't shared too much until now. So with the podcast pause, I've been telling you guys, I think a couple episodes ago, just how life lately has been a lot. And it has been a lot. There's been some really great things that have happened in the last month and a half. Some of them you guys know about, right? We are now in spring, at least in some parts of the world, it feels like it. In other parts, maybe not so much, I should say, in the Northern Hemisphere. But we are officially in spring. Our days are feeling longer because it's staying lighter later. That's a hard one to say, but it is. The days do feel longer because we have moved the clocks back an hour. All those things happened while I was taking my podcast pause. That sick family member that I referred to a couple episodes ago, well, they are feeling much better. So that's a great thing. And yeah, I'm trying to think here. I took some time off from my full-time job just to kind of take advantage of a quiet house over spring break and really just, focus on the podcast, focus on some of these other things I wanted to get to. But the main focus really was just to kind of like read, get back into that because I kind of got away from reading, just rest, relax, connecting with people and all the good stuff. Now, during that pause, I do want to say, I think what was kind of the final straw for me, where I really knew that I needed to pause the podcast, was after some cross-country trips with my full-time job for traveling. I wasn't feeling so hot. I wasn't feeling really well. And I decided to take a COVID test. And I know that COVID has been out now for 4 years, right? Is it 4 years? Yeah, 4 years. We're all used to it. It's like not that big of a deal anymore. But I know it has affected everybody differently when we talk about the pandemic. So I don't want to undermine that or lessen that by any means. But I will tell you, I was not feeling well. So I decided to take a COVID test. And I got to tell you, I was actually really relieved when the test came back positive. Because I think I was looking for something to finally say, it's okay to take a break. Like, I think I needed some kind of confirmation that said, yeah, you are burning yourself out. You are doing too much. And now your body is going to tell you you're doing too much. So I did feel some relief when I saw the positive test. And it was kind of like the universe telling me to, you know what, let's just slow things down a little bit and let's take that break. So I took a little bit of a break, but it really was more to put kind of all the other stuff. Anything I could put on hold, I did. And that also meant me saying no to things that I wanted to say yes to. You know, other podcast collabs or podcast projects, like certain things, unfortunately, did take the back burner, or I had to completely say no to. That meant saying no to, you know, maybe get-togethers with friends that I actually was really looking forward to. It meant saying no to just stuff because I had just too much on my plate, which is why I got to the situation I put myself in. So again, it's been over a month now that the podcast has been on the pause, but there was one thing that came out of this besides feeling really good. I feel really good. I don't know if you guys can tell my energy, but I feel good. I feel so much more rested than I have been. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I feel much more interested in things that I wasn't doing before, like the reading. You know, I just kind of felt like I was spending a lot of time scrolling on my phone and not so much with a book. But I found a new book. I was trying to read an old book that I had, and I think that might have been part of the problem because I already knew how it ended. But I enjoyed it, so I was trying to get back into it. But instead I said, let me just go get a fresh new book. And it has such a cute little plot to it. So I've started reading a new book, really enjoying that, creating new playlists, things that just feel good. And but the big thing from this, you know, when you do feel, and I don't know if anyone else has been there, because I have talked to a couple people, and for whatever reason, 2024 has felt really overwhelming and just kind of fast and furious. And I know I'm not the only one because I have had these chats with people. I've had conversations with some of you guys as listeners through DMs feeling like, yeah, what the heck, right? You know, this year has just been intense. It's been a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's only April, right? Now, I still think there's a lot of good stuff ahead. I don't want to make you guys feel, doom and gloom, but a lot has happened in a very short amount of time. Now, all that said, when I finally did say, all right, I didn't want to press pause, but I knew I needed to, from my personal life, my professional life, my podcast life, everything had to just kind of, chill a little bit. There was something that I got to think about, which then turned into this project that I'm going to tell you about right now. Thinking about kind of like this overwhelm, burnout feeling, kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't catch my breath. I was feeling like I was dropping the ball. It wasn't even just feeling that way. I was dropping the ball all over the place. I thought I was balancing. I thought I was getting stuff done. And I wasn't. I was screwing stuff up. There were mistakes. It was a mess. It was a mess. It was not my best performance in any part of my life. And then of course, being sick, it's just like the icing on the cake, right? But one of the things I thought about was that this is not me living my best life. Like, this is not my best life. Nope, this is not it. And as you guys know, we talk a lot on this podcast about peace, positivity, and balance to live your best life. And I thought, my gosh, I'm not doing that. Like, I need to pivot. I need to change. I need to tweak some stuff because this is not working for me. This getting pulled in a million directions, dropping the ball, making the mistakes, feeling like I have to say no when I want to say yes, and just kind of feeling like I felt exhausted. I was exhausted and feeling all that stuff. I'm like, this is not living your best life. And I felt like I was trying not to let people down. I was trying to get things done either on schedule or ahead of schedule to kind of get it off my plate. But instead, I was actually creating more work for myself because I was making mistakes and having to go back and redo it, which almost sounds like this episode, right? When I said I had to redo it a few times, but no. But in all seriousness, I thought about, what does my best life look like? And then from that, I really do believe that having this podcast pause has given me a chance to get creative again. And that's something I think we all have. We all have different skills and talents. And sometimes when we're so focused on, certain lanes in our life, whether it's kids, careers, partners, hobbies, exercise, whatever it is you're doing. Like a lot of times when we are just focused on whichever lanes that we're in, and I think we're always in multiple lanes, like there's a lane for your children, there's a lane for your partner, there's a lane for your job, and you're kind of in all the lanes and that's your focus. But I feel like, at least for me, you guys can let me know if you agree with this, but sometimes our focus, our perspective, we just kind of get almost too focused and we miss everything on the side. Like our peripheral vision kind of just, I don't know, it gets foggy. We don't get to see all the stuff around us because we're so focused on the lanes that we're in. So when I kind of took myself out of some of those lanes, all of a sudden the creativity, the ideas, the spark kind of came back. So let me know if you guys can resonate with that. And what this led me to was, well, if I'm not feeling like I'm living my best life, because I know, again, in my DMs, you guys are feeling overwhelmed too, that means that a lot of us are in the same position. A lot of us are in this boat where we're like, is this all there is? Like, is this the good stuff? Or is this adulting? Is this just, what's right for my age or where I'm at in my life or the chapter that I'm in? And one of the things I am excited about is next week's episode is literally this conversation with an author who I think she calls herself a burnout survivor. And she worked a high executive corporate job. She was successful. And she just kind of realized, like, no, you don't have to feel that way. Like, that is not normal. So that conversation's coming next week. So the timing of this episode and her episode really could not be more, could be better because they're back to back. So, but when I thought a lot about the whole living my best life, it started to get me writing down some ideas of, okay, how can I tweak this? If I do need to change, how do I tweak the lanes that I'm in? How do I, what does that life look like? Like, what am I doing more of? And what am I doing less of in this best life scenario? And then from there, because it kind of started as like a newsletter, I was thinking, I'm going to create this newsletter to send out to you guys if you want it as an optional thing. And it's something that if you want to take advantage to kind of envision your best life, you'll get this newsletter and away we go. But the more I spent on this project, the more time I put into it, the more ideas came out on the page, the more thought came into it, the more kind of revelation and the more excitement I had, because as I worked on it, I was like, oh my gosh, what about this? And what about that? And I just got so pumped up thinking about how this went from like a paragraph or two from a newsletter to a complete workshop. Like, this is a complete workshop. It's a resource. And I'm really excited to share this because I hope that many of you, whether you feel like you are living your best life, this is perfect for you too. Or if you feel like you're not, this is perfect for you too. Because I think when we have goals or we have any kind of endpoint we're trying to get to, whether you feel you're on track or you're not, sometimes we do have to make sure that we have the right plan in place to get there. I think that's important. We think about goal setting, New Year's intentions and resolutions, like whatever it is in the workplace, in your professional life. If you're trying to have a new, if you're at the gym and you're trying to level up your fitness game, or if you are, you're just focused on your health or your wellness in any type of department of your life, right? In any category, we all track our progress, but sometimes we don't know if we're like on the right track, if that makes sense. And I think it's important that we kind of look at that plan. Like, is that plan going to get us there? Because I think the fun part is fantasizing about the plan, fantasizing about that best life, fantasizing about the outcome, fantasizing about, well, when I get there, like my life's going to be so much better, right? Like if I achieve that goal, if I get to that level, if I get that promotion, I get that raise, if I marry that guy, marry that girl, if I get divorced, if I move away, right? All these things, we can think of these different type of scenarios. We think, well, once I get that thing, like, there we go. Now, maybe some of that's true, but I think you have to envision it and you got to make sure you have a plan to getting there, whatever that looks like for you. So this went from a newsletter to a complete workshop, and I am calling it my best life blueprint. So it's now going to be your best life blueprint, and it's available right now for free. Yes, for free. I am not charging. You are not going to get, spam blasted or anything like that. I have made this readily available. So if you want to get your hands on the best life blueprint, it is a PDF. It is a complete workshop for you to take advantage of. It's available on my website and also on Instagram. So on my website, it's peaceofmepodcast.com. That's peaceofmepodcast.com. If you're on Instagram, Peace of Me Podcast, check out the link tree in my bio. You will see it there, Best Life Blueprint. You click on it, you can download it. There's also a printer-friendly version because you will see it's 18 pages. 18 pages. There's a lot of good content there for you guys. And it will walk you through really kind of envisioning what this life looks like. And it will walk you through step by step, kind of really creating that life, what you really need to change, what has to happen, where you see yourself, what are you doing, what activities, what are you surrounded by? And then also the plan to getting there. Because that's the other big part of the equation, right? Is you've got this goal, you've got this idea of what the outcome should be, but how do you get there? So it's like a 2-parter workshop. And it's something that I hope just hearing this, you guys are like, yeah, this is awesome. Like a free workshop to actually envision and execute your best life. So this is one of those things you can print it. Like if you're at work, print this out. And it'll show you on the Best Life Blueprint, it'll tell you which pages to print. It's not going to drain your ink because I thought of that too. Don't worry, I got you. So print this off, print it at home, print it at work, whatever you got to do, print it at the library, print it at your kid's school. I don't care. Get your hands on this. Have fun with this. Pour yourself your favorite beverage, get cozy. You can take it from the couch to the coffee shop, take it on a vacation with you. This is like one of those things that this is all about you building your best life. So I hope that this excites you. I hope it inspires you because anytime that we really get to, I don't know, I think so much of our life is always focused on everybody around us. It's focused on our kids. It's focused on our partners. It's focused on our managers, supervisors, bosses, whoever we answer to. And we all answer to a lot of different people. So I think a lot of times we're always focused on our output and what we're doing. Are we showing up the way we want to show up, right? But sometimes we don't always take the time to think about what we need, like what's going on with us, like what doesn't feel right, what can we tweak, what do we have control over? Because I think that's part of it too. I think a lot of times when we live these lives, we're thinking, oh, well, a lot of this is out of my control. Like this is just the cards I've been dealt. This is the life I've been given. And that's it, right? No. Now, sure, there are some things that might be really hard to change. Absolutely. But there is a lot that's still within your control. And your time is limited. So when I say that, I just mean that with life. Like we don't know how long we're here for. So why not take advantage and make your time here the best it can be? So that's why I hope that this Best Life Blueprint is something that excites you and inspires you because it's like, how do you get there, right? Like, how do you create this best life? Because we say that phrase, live your best life. What does that mean, right? So this whole workshop, it's going to walk you through all of that. It's going to walk you through the whole thing. So have fun. It's free. Go download it. Maybe this is something too that you wind up sending to somebody you know. If you know somebody who's going through a major change in their life or just needs a little kind of pick me up or they just need to have a little, I don't know, bring back like a little spark in their step, this would be great for them too. And this is something you're going to probably work on here and there. So I'm just excited because I've actually come up with my own best life blueprint. And I won't share too much, but I will tell you mine is probably going to get executed within the next 3 to 5 years. I've also communicated what this looks like to my partner and said, what do you think? Is this going to work? Does this work for us? Is this realistic? He's like on board. He's on board. He's excited. And then that excites me. That makes me feel like, you know what? Okay, life is good now, but man, if we make some tweaks, like what life could be looking like. And we're on a path to getting there. So I'm excited. Like when I think about my future and I think about all the good stuff that's to come, I get really, really pumped up. So that's all I want to share in this episode. There's a lot of good stuff coming up here on the podcast. Free Coffee Fridays are coming back with my friends from Java Sock. We got those coming. Next week, we got this great episode with the author, Lavista Jones. Yes, she's coming on. She's going to talk about her book. We're going to talk all about boundaries, like even in the workplace, like boundaries in the workplace. Are those a thing? They are. She's going to talk all about it. So I want to keep this one short and sweet because I don't think it needs to go long. I've already told you guys all the good stuff. I'm back. I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be back with you guys. I hope you guys are feeling good. And for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, we are finally kind of coming out of winter here. So hopefully you are feeling just like a new energy with the new seasons and some of the new, podcast episodes we got coming and also this Best Life Blueprint. So peaceofmepodcast.com. Also on the Linktree, link in bio on Instagram. Go ahead, take advantage, download it, have fun. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know, if there's certain things in there that like are totally inspiring you or are really just making you think a little bit differently, right? So enjoy it. And I'm going to leave it there. That's it. And I'm not going to re-record another episode after this one. So hopefully I've said everything I have to say. All right, you guys, I so appreciate that you're here. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you again for letting me take some time to pause the podcast, especially because that was not planned. It was unannounced. And I appreciate that you guys are tuning back in, that you're here to join me. And I hope you're doing really well. Come on over, come talk to me. You can contact me through my website or through Instagram. I spend most of my time over there. And let's connect. We'll connect soon. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. To be part of the exclusive listener group, hit the follow button on whichever podcast platform you're listening to right now. When you follow, you'll be the first to know about new episodes so you can listen before anyone else. You'll also have quick access to the show, making it convenient to find for the next time. For more free content, join me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and online at peaceofmepodcast.com.